Objective of this session are to discuss the characteristics of Python list, list indexing, list sizing, and list operations. Characteristics of Python list. List is a sequence of values. The easiest way to create a list is to enclose its element in a square bracket. In this example, there are three elements 4, 3, 1, and the square bracket is used to create a list. Elements of a list may be of different type. In the earlier example, all elements were integer type, but elements of the list can be a mixture of string, integer, float. Like in this example, the first element is integer, second element is float, third element is string, and the fourth element is a list nested inside the list. Lists are mutable. For example, this is a list, and then we choose the second value by this index and assign the value 100. Now the earlier list, there is a change in place of the earlier list. It becomes, in the second value instead of 2, it is 100 now. List indexing. Any integer can be used as an index. There are two ways of indexing. Positive indexing, it is left to right starting with 0. And negative indexing, it is right to left starting with -1. You will get an index error if you use an index beyond the range. Example of list indexing. In this list, positive index, it is Python index is starting with 0. Then the next index is 1, next 2, and the last one is 3. And negative indexing, starting from the right side, first indexing is -1, then -2, -3, -4. Here, like if we choose using the square bracket is used to for indexing. So you list object square bracket index 0. So output is 1. It is selecting the first element. Then list object square bracket index 2. It is selecting the third element. Now list object square bracket -1, so it is selecting the last element. List slicing. The generic form of list slicing is list under square bracket, start index, stop index, and step. Start index is inclusive and the stop index is exclusive, and the default value of step is 1. Now in this example, this is the list, and list object square bracket and index 1 to 3. So it will index the object element from 1 to 2. 3 is exclusive. So you can see that this is 0 index, this is 1, this is 2, and third element is excluded. It is exclusive. If you omit the first index, the slice will start from the beginning. In this example, here the start index is omitted. So it is taking the element from indexing element from the beginning up to the second, because third is excluded. If you omit the second index, the slice will go up to the end. Like in this example, the second index is omitted, So starting from 3, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, starting from 3 up to the end. If both the indexes are omitted, it will make the copy of the whole list. In this case, it is taking the copy of the whole list. List operations. This plus sign operator concatenates a list. For example, x and y, these are the two lists, and x plus y, it is adding the two lists end to end. This asterisk operator repeats a list given number of times. For example, here is a list, then we are using this multiplication operator 2, and this value, this list is repeated, elements are repeated twice. Now let us move to the Python practical session. So I am creating a list. The elements are 1, 4, 8, 10. So we are using this square bracket to create the list. Now let us run it. So list is created. We can check the type of L. It is list. We can create another list. This time elements will be heterogeneous. So list name is L2, and the first element is an integer. Second element, first element is a float. Second element we can select is an integer. Third element is a string, and the fourth element also we can select as a string. Now indexing, to select the first element, the index will be under square bracket 0. So it will select the first element. First element is selected. To select this third element, indexing positive index starts with 0. So this is 0, 1, 2. So list object, then index 2. This will select the third element. To select the last element, we can use negative indexing -1. So it will select the last element. Now if we use index beyond the range, like here indexing is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we take 4, what will happen? It is giving index out of range, index error. Now we can assign a value, like for index 1, that means second element, we are assigning a value of 500, and then we look at the list now. Now the second element, this 10 is replaced by 500. Now list slicing, we can select like 1, 2, starting index is 1 and stop index is 3. So it will select element from 1 to 2 because 3 is exclusive. Let's see. So it has selected the first element now from here it has selected the first element 500 and second element, that is the bird. Now if we omit this start index, so it will select from beginning up to 3. So it is selecting from the beginning up to the second element, second index, because 3 is exclusive. And if we omit, now starting from 1 to stop index, so it will start from 1 to end. So it is selecting, this is the first index up to end it is selecting. And to make a copy, we can give L3 equal to L2 square bracket. So we are omitting both the start index and stop index. Now if we give L3, so L3 is a copy of the whole list. Now we can look at the concatenation. For concatenation, the list, this is the first list and this is the second list. We can add, or once again we can write it like list 1 equal to, for instance we can take list 1 having 3 elements 1 to 3, and list 2 having an element 4, 5, 6. Now if we use this plus sign, plus, it is adding that list end to end, it is called concatenation. Now list object asterisk 2, it will repeat the list twice. So this is the list, it is repeated twice. What have you learned? We have learned about the characteristics of Python list, list indexing, how to do list slicing, and lastly list operations.